Hi y'all, it's Kimberly here. Hi everybody, hi my subscribers. Thank you for showing up. Today I'm going to do it's like a small mukbang for a chicken sandwich at McDonald's. This is really cheap. It costed $1.08. It's off their dollar menu. So occasionally I do go there, you know, when I'm in a hurry or something fast. So I'm going to try to not make so much noise. I realize my bags, a lot of my videos I make a lot of noise with the bag, so I'm trying not to do that as much. Okay, put that back there. And, oh, darn it, I was going to tell them to put cheese on it and I forgot. Dang. Alright, oh. Well, this is just the McChicken, a regular McChicken. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, it's kind of smashed up. They didn't do a real good job putting it together. They kind of crushed it all up, I guess. Well, I mean, it's in the taste that really matters to me. I'm not quite so picky. I mean, this is fast food. Like, if I was in a nice place and they brought this to me, I'd ask them, did you drop it on the floor? But I know how it is in fast food when you're in a hurry and they're rolling the burgers, they roll them up real fast, and I can see how that can happen. So if it's fast food, I wouldn't be worried about it. But if it was in a restaurant, they bring it to your plate like this, I would ask them, did you drop it on the floor? Well, let's see. Okay, it's just like the chicken patty, and it's got mayonnaise and lettuce on it. That's all these have on it. And I've had them before. I eat them a lot, or not a lot, but every once in a while. And because they're so cheap and fast, and I live in a small town, so sometimes when I'm driving to the bigger town, if I'm in a hurry, sometimes I'll grab something like this. And this one is really hot. I can feel, you know, the buns are hot, and the patty's pretty warm, pretty hot. I mean, I don't think it didn't just pop out of the fryer, but it's warm, you know. Which, I mean, these are like pressed patties, preformed pressed patties. So this isn't like a chicken fillet sandwich, like a huge piece of breast meat or something like that. These are preformed patties, which they're okay, you know, I mean, if you're in a hurry. But if you don't like McDonald's, you're not going to like it then, you know. For a quick meal, not too bad, you know. Quick, cheap meal. Which now McDonald's has the, you can buy any size Coke for $1. The small, medium, or the large, and it's $1. Which, I think I said in another video, I think I was doing a mukbang on one of their, I can't remember what I was doing, but anyway, I got a different kind of a Coke. I went to one of the little stores and got a bigger Coke because their large at McDonald's is actually the medium that they used to have years ago. And it's just too small for me. You know, when I want a large Coke, I want a large Coke. I know it's only $1, but still, I'd rather pay a little bit more and get one that, you know, that'll last me for a while. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about LEA Michele. I don't like to do a whole lot of commentary, right? I don't like to critique other YouTubers. I don't want to get into that realm. I've said that before, but I don't mind every once in a while making comments about other celebrities or stuff like that. But the LEA Michele issue, I really hate that, you know, because I really liked her on that show, and God, can she sing. I love Barbra Streisand, and she has that kind of quality, kind of sound like Barbra Streisand. She has that kind of Broadway, I mean, just really big sound. And when I heard all this, I was shocked, you know. I mean, just, you hate to hear anything bad about somebody, you know. When you hear that they're just a general a-hole, you know, in general. I hate hearing that about people, especially people who are talented or have some, entertainment value that we can look at that we like about them, and then they come off in real life having a horrible quality. It's just disheartening when that happens, Oh, I'm not getting chicken with that. There's some controversy over whether she was being racist or if she was just being, like I said, an a-hole before. And some of her co-workers have come to her defense that they didn't believe she was racist, but she was just a despicable kind of person, the way she talked to other people and the way she treated other people. And sometimes the other people happened to be black. So, I really don't know, I don't think they said that she said anything overtly directly related to race, but she did say some really horrible things to a lot of her black coworkers, which, that's horrible. And she said something about wanting to take a poop in somebody's wig, that's... And I believe it was without provocation, I never heard anything about the other person doing something bad to her. And in general, a lot of people on that show said she was a nightmare to work with. And God, that's just, I hate that, I mean, why can't people behave themselves? I'm trying to sprinkle some more of this lettuce that fell out on there. And that really, and she's about to have a baby too, they say. And that just is, you can't really sympathize with somebody who is treating other people that way and they're about to be a mother. I mean, that just totally contradicts everything, to be a nurturing person, but yet you treat other people like garbage, And I have worked with people like that. Just a couple of years ago, I quit a job. I was at the end of my rope with this person, and this person worked in a nursing home and was just a vile, horrible human being and had been working there for almost a decade, and nobody would do anything. And when your boss is so scared to fire that person or has no backbone, I would have fired her immediately. I have suffered through situations like that and people like that. I don't want to get into so much personal about me, but I can sympathize with that situation, that, working with a person who is so awful and so horrible, she was handed, like, the gift of, that job that she had was just a dream job, and then she treated people that way. I think that's disgusting, some people just don't know how to act when they walk out of the doors of their house. And I can't comprehend that. I cannot comprehend the psychology of that, I can understand being a little upset or frustrated if you have some stressful situations. Everybody does that every once in a while, but, to act that way all the time and to behave that way and have that be a part of your character, I will never understand that. And I don't understand why places of employment allow those people to continually act like that and turn a blind eye to it. That in itself, I just don't understand. And I hated that because I really was a fan of hers and I really, really liked I love her singing and how talented she is. And you know, it just kind of breaks your heart sometimes when you hear that about somebody, and you have to take a step back and say, oh, you know, and then you have to. It changes your whole perspective of that person, and it lessens your respect for them. And that's what I have, you know, now that I know that about her. Because I have worked with people in very similar situations, you know, just, you know, and then I feel for the people that it affected, you know, because I have been there many times, you know. So, I don't know if that's something that she can change, because sometimes when people, one time I read an article, it was written by a psychiatrist, and he was explaining that, you know, in his field he comes across a lot of people who, you know, have psychological issues, and they tend to be a-holes. Was the point of the paper was a lot of people who he treated were, in general, their behavior was just disgusting. You know, they treated other people badly, and they wanted to use the excuse that since they were mentally ill, they should, you know, have carte blanche to just do whatever they wanted to other people. And he said, you know, that's one of the things in his profession that they kind of gloss over, and they have a lot of labels, you know, sociopath and, oh, bipolar, and different ways of categorizing people's behavior issues, psychological problems. And he said, you know, he was not as sympathetic with a lot of people, even though he was treating them as people with mental illness. He told them flat out that you cannot just treat people that way. You know, this is a behavioral issue, and a lot of your mental illness stems from your way of thinking that you can just treat people like garbage. And he said that was one of the bases that he taught or treated in his treatment for his patients. Was he addressed that first. And a lot of psychiatrists don't even bring that subject up. You know, you're an a-hole and you need to behave yourself, you know. But I remember reading this, excuse me, drink the Coke. And I kind of remember that because I have dealt with people who have mental illness, and you know, you try to have some kind of patience, but you know, if hers borders on that and she uses that as an excuse, I mean, that just, it does such a disservice to people who truly have mental problems. And that kind of behavior, you know, intertwined with, you know, to be classified as mentally ill, I mean, people like that, I just don't have any respect for. When you constantly go around treating people like garbage, and you think that you have some kind of card that allows you to do it, you can't do that, you know. You know, if she has to have some kind of treatment, or I don't know how to say it, if she does have to go to professionals to adjust her behavior, maybe she should do that, you know. But a lot of people who have certain behavioral issues, they'll have them for the rest of their life, you know. And a lot of it does have to do with, like, I'm referring to this paper, that they would rather keep that label of having a mental assessment on them and be allowed to treat other people like garbage, which this was a paper, I wish I could, I can't remember the guy who wrote it, and I read it, it was like in a paper or a magazine or something. This was like decades ago. It's like 20 or 30 years ago. But it was more of a rant from a psychologist about the way that people would act, and that he would tell them, you know, you can't act that way, you know. He counseled them on, you know, you cannot treat people like that. And I wish I could remember all that. I can't remember it, but a lot of it was funny, the way he wrote it and the way he addressed the subject with people. And he told a couple of funny little stories, which I can't remember, just little anecdote type of stories, and I can't remember, but, you know, I mean, think about the other person, you know, when you're treating them like garbage, and why do you think you feel so entitled to treat somebody that way, you know? You might want to assess that issue in yourself, you know, if you're treating people like they're less than you,